The National Academy of Mobile Electronics is proud to present a series of training videos for the consumer electronics industry. Each video focuses on a specific area of training with information that has been compiled and painstakingly applied over several years. These videos will make a great addition to your video training library, and if you're just getting started, they will save you hundreds of hours of head scratching. So sit back, take notes, and enjoy. Here's Mike Bro.
Hello, I'm Mike Bro. Welcome to the National Academy of Mobile Electronics. NAME has been providing quality training videos to the mobile electronics industry for over 2 years now.
And now, NAME is offering training and instructional videos for the do-it-yourselfer. Each video covers key points discussing the fundamentals of mobile electronics installation. You'll receive easy-to-follow, step-by-step instruction from the same company that trains professional installers around the world. The integration of an aftermarket car stereo into an automobile is a fairly simple process given the proper knowledge and information. Before a car stereo can be installed, there are a few questions that must be addressed to assure the compatibility of such a unit. In this training, we will identify how to determine this compatibility, cover the difference between DIN and shaft head units, proper uses of kits, using harnesses, proper mounting techniques, back bracing, and grounding techniques. We'll begin by determining the compatibility of a head unit into the vehicle. Most car stereos operate with an amplifier built into the unit, so it may not require an additional amplifier to be functional. The wires carrying this amplified source to the speakers are known as high-level output wires. These high-level outputs are separated into a right stereo channel and a left stereo channel, and in the case where a four-way fader is being utilized, there will be 4 high-level output wires. If these output wires are not common ground, there will be a positive wire and a negative wire for each speaker. This simply means that each of these wires must be run uninterrupted and ungrounded directly to the speakers. By grounding these wires, you could cause severe damage to the amplifier section of the stereo. Other stereos utilize what is known as low-level outputs, and in this case the signal is transferred through RCA jacks from the back of the stereo and requires a separate amplifier to operate. This is a better alternative when utilizing an additional amplifier in the system. The unit that we will be installing for our training has both high-level and low-level outputs. We will utilize the high-level side of this head unit. In a case where the automobile has grounded speakers where isolated outputs are required, separate wires must be run to the existing speakers. To test to see if the wires from the existing speakers are grounded, simply use a multimeter and in the ohm scale touch one lead to the chassis of the vehicle and the other lead to each speaker wire one at a time. If there is zero resistance to ground, then the speakers are grounded to the chassis and will require new wires run to the speakers. We will now remove the existing stereo system. Most car dashes in newer cars utilize snap-on clips for mounting dash panels. In most cases, any screws or bolts used in mounting are hidden behind such panels. Inspect the dash closely to determine whether the panel is a snap-off or screw-off type panel before you proceed. Some factory stereos may be removed by using 2 removal pins, one in each side. Simply slide the pins into the holes in the factory unit and slide it out of the dash. Other dashes require the removal of hidden screws, then snapping it off, such as seen here. Remove the screws and then remove the bezel. This panel has a snap-off front. To do this, we will take a hook tool and pull gently, removing the panel. Here are the clips used by the manufacturer. In this vehicle, the stereo system consists of 3 units. The control piece for the tuner here in the dash, the amplifier section located up under the dash, and the cassette deck, which we will remove to mount the unit. Remove any screws that were exposed from removing the dash panel. Unplug the factory harness from the cassette player at the main unit in the dash. To utilize the factory harnesses on this vehicle, bring them up to where the new unit will be installed. A dash kit is simply a mounting bracket or housing which will take any universal shaft-type radio or DIN-type radio and adapt it to a particular vehicle. We will begin with the shaft type. Before installing any car stereo, always check and remove all transport screws from the cassette or CD section of the deck. Here is an example of such screws. Here is a dash kit for a shafted radio to adapt it to a Ford Tempo. To mount this stereo to the kit, we will need to put shaft nuts on the shaft to ensure we have a nice flush fit to the front of the kit. A faceplate is standard in most car stereos, as is the mounting hardware, back braces, and harnesses. After mounting the stereo to the kit, in this particular application, we use the back brace that came with the factory stereo. Back braces are a must in all car stereo installations to ensure a rattle-free installation and to protect the electronics from developing future defects. Now let's move on to DIN installation. Here is the kit which we will utilize in the installation of our DIN radio. This particular kit completely replaces the existing dash piece, including the air vents. To make this work, we will first need to remove the clips from the existing dash panel and the air vents and place them into the new kit. This kit can be used for a shaft type or DIN type radio. To use it for a DIN type radio, simply take a razor knife and cut this area away from the kit. A DIN opening is 2 1/8 inches by 7 1/8 inches. Since our dash is gray and our kit is black, you may choose to dye your kit to match. To get the manufacturer's color code to match the dye, simply turn the dash part around and here you will find the color code. To mount your bracket for this DIN type radio, simply slide it through the DIN opening and bend the tabs down as seen here with a small pick tool. Here are a few rules to note when installing a stereo system. First, never cut the factory plug out of a vehicle. Use a factory plug which will adapt your stereo's plug to the plug into the vehicle. Second, never cut plugs off of the head unit. These 2 steps alone will expedite removal and replacement procedures tremendously should you wish to reinstall your original stereo. Always cut excess wire off of the unit, keeping them short enough to maneuver during the installation, but do not cut plugs off to achieve this. Also, never cut fuse leads or noise filters off of the head unit, and always use the size fuse required by the manufacturer. Now, in harnessing this unit, we will use a power plug which will allow us to mate with the factory plug in the dash. To adapt the power plug to the head unit, we need to crimp our connectors onto the power plug, matching those on the head unit. In this case, male and female bullet connectors will be used to make the match. One important note when using connectors in the dash: never leave potential power plugs uninsulated. Also, when looking to locate a ground in the dash, use a multimeter rather than a test light to ensure a true ground wire. Using the factory ground wire is not recommended in a highly amplified system due to the noisy nature of such grounds. The power plug takes all of the guesswork out of wiring up a harness. All you do is hook up the wires to this harness, which match that on the head unit, plug it into the vehicle, and you're set to go. For instance, hook the switch 12-volt wire on the harness, which is given right on the package, to the switch 12-volt wire on the head unit, and so on, until you have all the applicable wires hooked up. Wire tie all of the wires neatly as seen here. Install the back brace to the head unit before getting into the vehicle for ease of installation. On this vehicle, the manufacturer uses a plug on the antenna that does not fit what is known as a Motorola type plug used on most other stereos. So we will plug in an adapter plug to mate this plug with the stereo. Now, press the dash kit back into place, pulling the harness into place. To complete the installation, plug in all necessary harnesses and plugs, guide the back brace through the opening, and reach up and position the harness out of harm's way. Now, press the stereo in until it snaps into place. Position the back brace to a point where it can be fastened to the dash using an existing bolt, again avoiding a potential ground loop situation. A ground loop occurs when two electrical components are grounded to 2 points referencing different voltages. In many cases, engine noise will be audible in the sound system. To eliminate such noise, ground all electronic components to the same reference point. This particular stereo has a removable face, which is excellent in terms of theft prevention. It is now time to turn on your system and perform a complete function test, including the cassette and/or CD section, the AM and FM section, the balance, the fader, bass and treble where applicable, and check all of your memory presets and clock to make sure they're holding their memory.
On behalf of the staff here at NAME, I would like to thank you again for your support. I'm Mike Bro. Goodbye for now.
This concludes our video presentation. For suggestions for new videos or the release of other training videos, call NAME